Hello comrades, yes it's me, a Yorkshireman now living in Wales, and I hope everybody's okay. So, I've been away to Portugal, so for a short time I was a Yorkshireman living in Portugal, not anymore. Did he have a good time? Of course he had a good time. I was with some mates from Wales and we did stuff and we drunk and had a good laugh. Right, what did I notice? Well, I noticed that the fuel prices were about the same, however, supermarket prices, the food was about half price. So there you go, that's what I noticed, and if you've been abroad you'll tell me this already. Yes, we know that, Yorkshireman, and I'll go yes, but I always like first-hand evidence. So yeah, we're getting ripped off. So today, comrades, I'm going to do possibly a 2 or 3 part video, and I'm going to look at Gwynedd Council, who are, of course, political party run by Plaid Cymru, through and through. I did a video on them, and this paper is called the Climate and Nature Emergency Plan. So I'm going to pick it apart and give you my thoughts on it, and I'm also, just as I say, give you my thoughts, see what's going on. Interesting thing about this paper, there's no author, and from what I can tell, there's actually no references. Now, given it's about the Climate and Nature Emergency Plan, that's quite odd. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion about these papers, because when you don't have any author, question there is, so who wrote it? Now, anything to do with net zero, carbon, blah blah blah, I now believe that there's a central point and people can buy the papers using our money, of course, and just do a little bit of a word change to say this is what we produced. That's where I'm coming at it from. I could be wrong. So the person who's done the lead on this and the author is the councillor, Nia Jeffries. And she's actually the leader of Gwynedd Council, which is my council, and if you're watching this, it could be your council. A little bit of a reminder, she gets from us about 70 grand. Right now, she got elected as a councillor, so that's fine, but internally they then elected other people, she's now one of them, to get 70 grand of our money. I don't know why that is. If you're elected to be a councillor, then you do other stuff, that's the end of it. I've covered this in another video. So the first thing, what I will point out is it's got the word emergency in. So I then looked into this and I've done some reading on this and I've watched other videos on other people's take on the word emergency. And I then got directed to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC. And these are quite a renowned body, and do they use the word emergency or crisis? No. They use things like it's a changing climate. However, they do go on to say pollution's bad and the rest of it, and too much carbon's being produced. Right, fair enough, common sense applies. But this body don't use the word emergency or crisis. Yeah, Gwynedd Council, for some reason, are doing that. I don't get why. Welsh Government are doing it. So really, they're trying to mislead us all into panicking, but I don't know why. Now, common sense applies when it comes to things like pollutions. So let's look at cars and maybe motorbikes as well. So cars, the world of cars, when they started off, yeah, they polluted quite a lot. However, good science, not bad science, good manufacturing practices, good technology literally meant they don't really produce much pollution now. They are far more efficient. So my take on all of this is to reduce carbon, and I will come to carbon, is common sense applies. Yeah, normal science and technological advances and the rest of it will take care of it all. That's where I come from with this. Right, so let's talk about carbon. Now, if you know a bit about science and the rest of it, or you went to school, you should have been told that we need carbon to live. Everything needs carbon to live. Without carbon, we'll all die. That's where I am with it. So when I see a document which says we're going net zero carbon, that to me means that they don't want us to exist anymore. But by default, and this is what I don't get, it also means that they themselves don't want to exist. Because if everything is net zero carbon, everything on the planet dies. So have a look at this slide. This is just something I pulled off the internet. So, paragraph 1 comes in there, is essential to life on Earth. Oh, right, okay, get that. Number 2 though, it says yes, it comes through issues of burning fossil fuels, deforestation and industrial processes. Right, okay, that's interesting. So yeah, common sense applies on that. Then on the flip side, we need it because it's crucial in ecosystems. Right then, now, also some people I've listened to, read about and the rest of it, they actually say that plants need carbon because it's part of their process to go through. The more carbon they get, the more efficient they are, so therefore they grow better. See, couldn't make it up. So, should we manage pollution? Yes, we should use common sense. No issues with any of that. Should we go net zero carbon? Well, to be honest, no. I enjoy my life at the moment. I enjoy living in Wales. I enjoy hanging about with mates and having a few beers. However, you know, I'm a free speech, free will person, so if you want to do something different, you crack on, but don't involve me. So what else have I got to say on this paper? Now, as you can see here, they want to achieve it by 2030. Right, well, can I just suggest that you ask us? Because what you're able to do is each year you can send out a demand to money to all our email addresses or to our actual home addresses. So you know where we are, you can contact us and demand money. So you need to start asking us, dear such and such, would you like to do this? Please reply yes or no. It's a bit like a referendum, and that's called democracy. But no, you've decided you're going to do it by 2030. Now of course that does then come with an issue. But before I get on with the issue, let me cover this thing, scarce resources. I don't know what they are. I don't know what it is. But again, this word scarce, is it scarce? I don't know. I've not really seen anything scarce at the moment. So I don't know. So I'd like an explanation about that. Maybe I'll write to you, maybe I'll ask. So, let me go on to the issue with what I'm going to call renewable energies and the rest of it. This is how it works. So, you say you want to go renewable, and to be net zero carbon, literally to reach that you have to do away with fossil fuels. Right, so let's look at the practicalities of all of that. So let's just say to run, I don't know, a village or a big, I don't know, industrial complex, right? And you're determined that everything will be net zero carbon, right? This is what Gwynedd Council want. So at that point, let's just say that building takes, and this is all pretend stuff because I've not looked into it, let's just say per day or something like that, it takes 5 gigawatts to run. I don't know what that is, right? But whatever. So you need 5 gigawatts of renewable energy consistently. So that means when there's no wind, when there's no other sun's not out or it's dark, the question is, where's that consistent power going to come from? Now, this is what a lot of people seem to forget. On the other side, you then need literally fossil fuel power station to kick out the same 5 gigawatts. Yes, now in Wales, like everywhere else, we get power cuts, that's part of life. So how are you going to sustain this renewable bit when there's no power? You're going to literally have to then have 2 stations, which we're paying for. Yeah. So you've got 2 power stations doing exactly the same, but costing twice as much. In fact, I should imagine one costs far more than the other. Why is that the case? Because battery technology literally has not advanced to the stage where it can maintain renewable energy systems. Right, so whatever they do, they are going to have a reliant upon fossil fuels. So why are we wasting money? Why don't you just sit and wait until battery catches up and everything's looking good? I just don't get it, you see. This is a problem I have. Now, what I'd like to be is more positive about it, but I'm just being factual about it. So the other thing is this little bit about money. Right, so if all this renewable energy was really good and cost cutting, which is what, somewhere in all of this they say we will economically be better off, then you need to explain this to me. And I pull this up here, you can see this little box here. They invested, Gwynedd Council, they didn't ask me, they didn't ask you, using our money of course, £8 million in energy consumption reduction measures between 2010 and 2019. I guarantee that'll be £9 million. Let's make it easy for the maths. And they reduced the carbon emissions by 58%. Right, okay, now once you've got rid of that carbon emissions by 58%, what do you do with the carbons you've saved? Because you can't do anything with them. You can't sell them on, you can't do anything. Now, so at that point, why hasn't my council tax bill gone down? So you're pursuing this now, you've already spent £9 million, plus the other stuff I've not found out yet, on green stuff. Right, why is my council tax going up and up and up? That's the question I've got for you. Because if it's that good and it's going to come down, I'd see it decline. But no, I don't see that. Now, let me now move on to some sort of the money before I get into the details. As you can see on this, I've used AI just to pull together some of the numbers we're looking at here. And this is quite an interesting thing, is they've got £10 million upgrading houses through energy saving schemes. No problem with any of that, but £10 million? Does that then give us value for money? So have we got a saving of £10 million, or is the projected outcome in 80 years' time or something like that? They've installed £2.8 million, looking at this, with 3 in solar panels. Why? Why have you done that? Right, but then also, and I will cover some of these, LED lighting upgrades. Now that's a pilot scheme, because that's in the document here, so that's £500,000. And then of course, with then over £1 million, and I will look into this in a separate video, for electric cars and vans. That's a mere fraction of the cost, because there's something else going on with that. And £66,000 for vehicle charging points. Why? Have you not heard of petrol stations which already exist? And of course you then need the infrastructure to run all of that. And then £12 million on building a new school. Right, well, does a school cost £12 million? I'm not really sure. But it's green, so it's bound to. And then of course we've then got 175,000, call it 200 grand, for pilot heating pumps projects. Again, I will cover some of this stuff. So I added it all up and you've got 26 million quid, and it'll be 26 million, well, it's, call it 27 million pounds, yet our tax bills are going up and up and up. Why is that? Now don't forget, we've already spent £1 million a year plus, and our council tax bills are still going up. So financially, it really doesn't make any difference at all. Now, the other bit this document contains is about the Section 6 Environmental Wales Act. Now, I've had a good look at this, the document, the Climate Nature Emergency, no emergency, and what did I notice missing? Now, in my little world, and I'm a simple man, what we need is good quality air, which has to contain carbon, right? So there might be the interchangeable, no idea, right? However, we need water. So in this document, water is only referenced twice, yes, twice, in reference to not being pollution free, no, flooding, bloody flooding, right? So this document on the environment, they're not even mentioned about the amount of pollutions in the local rivers, or even in the sea. They're not even talked about it. Yet without good quality water, ecosystems and everything else fails. So seriously, what is going on with them? Now, I now live in here, so I know loads of people who do river fishing, lake fishing, sea fishing, and what do they say to me? The pollution's bad, they need to sort it. Yet Gwynedd Council make no reference to it in this paper. I'd rather see money spent taking the polluters to court. That's what I'd rather see. Right, I'm going to stop the video there for now. Thank you for watching. Hopefully it'll then be part 2 and I'll carry on with a good rant, because clearly this is exercising me. Right, comrades, thank you for watching. Have a good day. It's got a bit colder. Adios.